Hello guys, and welcome to Power and Revolution 2019 edition. Yes, 2019 and not 2020 because $20-something just to get Corona, I don't think that's a very good deal. But after my last playthrough on the channel, the Brazil playthrough, I took a vote to figure out what you guys wanted to see, and there was a 75% majority vote for playing China rather than North Korea, the most popularly suggested country you guys wanted to see me play. You guys ended up opting for China instead, and here we are, getting the playthrough started with our amazing leader, Winnie the Pooh. Named him myself. I think it's very fitting. So the relations aren't going to be one-to-one with real life, because some things haven't happened yet by the time this was calculated. For example, Vietnam loves us. In real life, Vietnam does not love China. In fact, Vietnam is siding with the US over China because China wants to claim some stuff from Vietnam. But we're going to function with what we have. Now, one of the first things I do want to do in this playthrough is I want to get a meeting with everyone that I have dark green relations with. So this includes China. This includes, I believe, over here, yes, Tajikistan. Let's get them booked on the calendar. Hopefully, by the way, this playthrough is less buggy than the last. We have Iran, of course. Can't forget about Iran. Gonna book the fucking calendar here. We have some oddballs here, I know that. Like, we have Honduras over here. Let's toss them in there. We have Venezuela. Let's throw him in there. And we have Cuba. Throw him. And finally, I believe finally, Bolivia. Throw him on the calendar. I found all these pretty easy by going into the diplomacy tab here, and as you can see, I still miss one. So Uzbekistan is not dark green. Everyone above is. I forgot about Laos. Gotta get in here and get a meeting with Laos. So that's most of the month already packed up on meetings. I want to get full military alliances with all of these countries that like me at the very start, that love me, so I can, cement myself around the world. Countries like Cuba, Venezuela, and Honduras, Bolivia, these are going to be good countries to set up military bases in the future if I start expanding my empire into one that is global. Iran, of course, Vietnam, people around me that are going to be good neighbors. As you see, relations with certain countries aren't as good. Afghanistan over here, even the people in Afghanistan, the Taliban, basically, the Mujahideen, those people. Ukraine, we are not friends with anyone in Europe. Saudi Arabia, nope. Japan hates us. South Korea, Taiwan, of course. This is going to be a very expansionist playthrough. Speaking of, let's talk about the goals of this playthrough. So the goal of this playthrough isn't like a stand down with the US or anything. I'm not going to romanticize the US's position as the global policeman in this playthrough. Instead, I am going to go by actual real-life China's actions of late, their plans and things they call for. So, for example, land claims from surrounding countries, some Silk Road countries, things like Korea. They want parts from India. They want Taiwan back. They're encroaching on the Philippines. Things like that. We're not going to go one-to-one, but we're going to start it, and then we're going to proceed from there. Nothing like a long-term goal. This could expand into fighting the US. This could expand into global domination if the game doesn't bug out first. But that is just the general, easy-to-go-by plan. But of course, China is in a situation. Our national deficit to our GDP is among the higher in larger countries, among the higher end. Our inflation isn't too bad. Our growth is pretty good to start. Our unemployment is something good to watch. We got some debt stats over here that we can look at. So our public debt isn't too bad in number, nor is it in percentage of GDP compared to places like Japan especially and the US. So we don't have to worry about clearing the deficit too quickly, but that is something I want to take care of bit by bit. I also do want to end up changing our industry. So China's known for being communist, but in real life, they're not actually the most communist of people. As you can see, there's a lot of free market things and only minor shareholder things right here. If we go into farming, agriculture is entirely free market. So, What that means is I want to emulate the way China's acting in real life more and go and get everything down to or up to minority shareholder in everything, where China has a hand in everything as they do in real life, but not full control over, but that could change at any time, of course, and less free market things, less of that. That's going to be a goal, although I can't do that all at once. I actually tested doing that all at once, and I was kicked out of leadership by the end of January, so that's definitely not happening. So there's a couple things that I'm going to do at the start here. Not too much, not a full episode's worth like we did with Brazil, because our economy's in a good state. One thing I'm going to do, here we have the tax on industrial pollution, which I believe, if I remember correctly, was the most broken tax in the game that we could find as Brazil. It generated an excessive amount of money, and it didn't really hurt anything. There's some other ones, but none quite as broken as this. It doesn't look like as good of a tax for China as some others, but it's still something we're going to try to utilize at the very start, because if I can get this up to 10%, from 0.10% at the start of the game, and if it behaves similarly to how it did in the Brazil playthrough and all my other playthroughs, then this tax is going to solve almost our entire deficit standing at the start of the game. So we're going to send that through there. Oh, and see, look at that. It's going to destroy, in a good way, the deficit as we know it. Simultaneously, I'm going to boost up the spending on protecting the head of state, probably just to max at the very start, because we're going to need it. Another thing we're going to do is come over here to our Secret Service, and we'll find it's not the best, it's not the worst. We can't upgrade it too much due to costs at the start, but you see we have some terrorists, some illegal organizations in the country. The Uyghurs, I think they're called, from Xinjiang, which we are immediately going to have to infiltrate this organization. We're going to want to get rid of pretty much all of these. So we're going to have to, this is one of the ones where we could place people under surveillance. We're going to have to keep track of this. We got the Tibet Autonomous League, another one of these. Infiltrate that. The Chinese Mafia, a simpler one to deal with. Chinese Democratic Movement, infiltrate that. We got some people to file. We got one person. And the Chinese Brethren of Islam, which we are also going to infiltrate. And this is another one where you can file. Damn, this is going to take some effort to keep up with. But we're going to want to get rid of these guys pretty much as soon as possible. And we're also going to, at the very start of the game, run a citizen awareness of cybersecurity campaign, because it's good to do. It makes people a little happy. It makes you secure. But you need to run it like every year to really get some good effects. We have a bronze cyber protection plan. That's good. Any more would be rather expensive. And the final thing that I can think of right now that we're going to do before we hit the play buttons, we're going to come over here to the military. Now, as you see, there's a total of over 2 million soldiers, most of them conscripts and not actually paid employees, with 7,500 commandos. Decent amount of missiles. And as you can see, China is very buffed in this game compared to real life. They're given pretty much, almost in all instances, top tier tech, better than even the US. Now this is kind of interesting considering this was made by French developers. But for example, if we come over here to submarines, you see we have the best submarines in the game right now. Meanwhile, in real life, China has, a few years ago they deployed something like 40, 50 submarines, and a couple of US submarines managed to trail them because they were so old and because they were so loud without ever being detected. Realistically, Chinese submarines should be rank 1, rank 2 at best, but they give us all rank 3. I think this is mainly because of verification problems. It's hard to verify what China actually has, and just to balance the game, to make them the opposing faction against the USA, as opposed to Russia, which we're used to seeing in, Geopolitical Simulator 2, they just kind of buffed them up. They even gave them 2 of the most advanced aircraft carriers in the world, where right now, China in real life is developing aircraft carriers that would fall into rank 1, rank 2 best. So we're going to take advantage of this weird favoritism the devs chose to show the country, and we're going to use it to our advantage. We got a bunch of satellites too, damn. So we're going to just leave things the way they are, because right now we don't need to upgrade. We can modernize our missile launchers from rank 3 to rank 4, But we don't need to, and we don't have the money to necessarily do it yet. Our drone industry is not actually active. We will end up fixing that because rank 2 drones are useless in most instances, so we're not going to really care about that. Everything else is already maxed out, so we're good. And we have one of the biggest militaries in the game. Producing nukes is going to be pretty vital. In fact, I might just set this to like 300. I don't know, let's do 250. Let's do 250. Get nukes going. And we're going to abolish the national service at the very start of the game. This will save us money. This will make our troops more effective. And just generally help us, assuming it doesn't get us thrown out of office. But let's pray for the best, because we need everything we can to challenge the deficit at the start. Because the sooner we can get rid of the deficit, especially if we can get rid of our debt, the sooner we can start spending. And the sooner we can start spending, the sooner we can start expanding our empire. I'm not looking at modernizing entirely. The infrastructure of China needs some upgrades. You see, there's a lack of highways. There's a lot of high-speed rails for whatever, quote-unquote high-speed rails. China doesn't actually have this many high-speed rails in real life, so I don't know what they're counting. But they have almost no main highways. If we take a look, their main highways are minimal. Their secondary highways, which are like automatically placed, is where it's at. We're going to want a highway system eventually, but modernization isn't going to exactly be a goal of this playthrough. It's something I will happily pursue, but it's not necessarily a goal. It's something that can help commerce, but not necessarily a goal. I'll do it, but I don't need to. We even got some highways going up into like Russia and stuff. Now we have allies also, unlike, this is a pipeline by the way. We have allies unlike what we had in the Brazil playthrough, where everyone's surrounding us. We planned on attacking. We don't plan on attacking everyone surrounding us, meaning we could hopefully get some. Now you can't do this with roads, but you could get high-speed rail networks leading abroad. So, for example, we could get a high-speed rail going to Hanoi from our country, maybe to Pyongyang, maybe to Russia. It wouldn't go to anywhere too large. Maybe Vladivostok. Don't want to mess that name up. Or somewhere else around here worth building into. Same thing over here with Tajikistan and etc. Anyone that we end up bordering with that we like. We get to do a bunch of things in this playthrough, basically, that we didn't get to do in the last one. But that's pretty much my starting moves. I'm going to take a look over things, save the game, and then we're going to get going and hope for the best and respond to things as they come about. So, as you can see here, we just got an amazing boost here. Look at this popularity boost. I wasn't expecting something this good here. We got, oh man, social, which... what would that even come from? What did I do? I don't know. Militarism is sad because we are unabolishing the national service. Industry's sad because we're taxing it. Public finances are happy because this will help the debt and the deficit. The environment's happy because of the industrial pollution tax. Liberties are happy because we're not forcing people to go into the military. And social, I don't even know what's doing the social. I clearly don't remember what I just did to increase the liberties value.
Our team is in place. The information...
yeah, we got people going under surveillance. My popularity leaving people speechless. Taking care of the ecology. Yep, okay, that's good. So we're on a good track right now. We could keep this going. Environmental spending is a very important thing, at least in terms of nature here, because when disasters strike, you get a popularity boost if you prepared for it. As forest fires is a very common one. Although, as you could see, if I wanted to max out everything we have a threat from right now, it's pretty pricey because of how much land we have. But we're going to want to at least raise forest fire up, this much. So I'm going to dump some money into raising up our forest fire prevention spending, because it will come in handy. Trust me, it will come in handy. We're going to have to do a whole bunch of things. But for right now, the main thing we're going to focus on is getting these alliances set up and also letting these things go through, well, we just got one there, go through the parliament, the one-party parliament right here. which will happen on the 10th and the 15th respectively, to start getting our deficit in check, and then we can start working on things from there. But for now, we have our meeting with Vietnam. Let's offer a coffee. Love your country.
Right. It is the most beautiful country in the world.
Yeah, man.
Next time, come and visit my summer residence. I'll show you the countryside.
Graphical glitches, but it's fine. Make an effort in terms of human rights? What's that? We're going to go to propose a military alliance right here. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Vietnam, will you give me a full alliance? You will. Good. Thank you. Will you give me, now will you give me all of this? No, you won't. Okay. Will you give me just maritime and air? You will. Awesome. And now, will you give me land? No. Okay. Will you give me land if I give you maritime? No. Will you give me land if I give you maritime and air? Yes. Okay. So what just happened, for those that did not watch my Brazil playthrough and are not familiar with my cheesy process here, is I just got a full alliance with Vietnam. I just got full access to go through their territory, even outside of war, over air, sea, and land. That includes refueling and resupplying. And I granted, outside of war, permission for them to do the same for air and sea, but not for land. There's not much reason to do this unless you just, don't trust the other person. But it's good to have something that you can negotiate with later if you want to get any military bases, if at all possible. But having access rights to go through their territory is invaluable. We don't need to set up any economic contracts, though, so I'm going to end that meeting right there. Also, it took me a while to do this in the Brazil playthrough, but let's do this now. Let's take a look at the organizations that we're in. This is another time where we can, make our own organization or look around. And as we see here, we got the Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation, APEC, that we are a part of. There's a whole bunch of countries in here, including ones that hate us. The US is in here. The efficiency of it's not too great, but we're in it. It gives our economy a boost. We're in BRICS, which constitutes of us, Brazil, India, Russia, South Africa. This is another economic thing, far more efficient, as you can see. We're in the G20, which is pretty similar, pretty exclusive. Of course, there's countries in here that hate us. We're in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which in real life is a anti-terrorist cooperation agreement between these countries. It's military based. In this, I think it's just political for boosting relations, which is essentially also the point of it in real life. And of course, we're in the World Trade Organization. Hopefully we don't get kicked out this time, right? And I am going to go through this list and see who I can apply to, who I can join, because I like joining these, honestly. I like seeing what I can shove my own country into and getting any kind of benefits that I can get. So I went ahead and I applied for a whole bunch of things, and I'll talk about them as they come in. Some of them I can't join because of regional restrictions, and other because of restrictions to their organizations. I can't apply to join the G7. G7 members can only propose a member to join them, but I have my meeting here with Tajikistan. Sure. Let's offer them a coffee, tell them I love their country, and propose a military alliance, and will you just literally do all this at the same time? No, I didn't think so. Well, let's just look at a just straight up alliance. Ooh, you won't even just give me a straight up alliance to start. Let's try a defense pact. No. Oh, wow. This is going to be interesting. Has their relationship with me changed? No, it's still bright green. All right, non-aggression. Really? What the fuck? You won't even give me a non-aggression pact, but you love me? Hang on a second. Tajikistan, yes? Look at how much they love me. They absolutely adore me. I go to diplomacy, and they're one of my main allied countries. They love me. That's a rating of how much people like you, by the way. Damn, what the hell? What if we do like this? Wow, I did not expect that. Ha. Well, okay, so all of a sudden, I literally just hit non-aggression, and for some reason they randomly decided to accept it. So he just changed his mind when I proposed it again. What about support? Can I do the same thing with support? I don't even know what I did. I checked this, and then I unchecked this, and then I proposed it. What? Is that some sort of new hack I discovered? Check, unchecked. Okay, didn't work that time. Maybe it's just he changed his mind after I proposed it enough. Check, uncheck. No? Alright, well, we got a defensive alliance so far. Let's see about getting some maritime rights. No, doesn't look like it's gonna go through for just one. Not even for two. Alright, well, we're just gonna be happy that we just got a defensive alliance with them. And stop those negotiations there. We could come back to it another time. And it looks like I missed something. I missed a nation I have good relations with. Zimbabwe. So we'll throw them on the meetings list. It's fine. We haven't gotten too far ahead or anything.
I must inform you that you can...
Yeah, I know I can do that. I've already done that. One thing that I didn't check that we might as well check now is check out our arms embargoes. Do we have any embargoes? We do. Standard embargoes against certain countries that pretty much everyone starts out with embargoes against. Things that don't affect us too much. You know, Yemen, Sudan, Somalia. North Korea, okay, that's not right. We're going to cancel our arms embargo against North Korea. They should appreciate that. Okay, no. Raise them is how you get rid of them, yeah? What the hell? Raise. Okay, maybe it just needs a moment to take effect. Let me test it. So we let some time go by. We go back. We look. No. Am I supposed to cancel? Raise. Okay, so raise without unchecking it. That's random. People don't like that we just did that much, but we want to be friends with North Korea. They're friendly, right? We want them to like us. We want to get them to dark green so they're willing to accept things. Speaking of accept things, we got our meeting with Iran. Give them their standard compliments. Shoot right for that alliance. And no, not quite budging there. But we did get a mutual defense pact immediately. Try that alliance again. Nope. Alright, so what about things within here? Alright, so we just got some maritime rights in them. What about some air rights? No. What about alliance now? No. Okay. What about alliance and I give you maritime rights? Let's try that. No. Okay, let me finagle. Alright, so here's the end result of my diplomatic finagling. I got land and maritime rights in their country. I got a defensive alliance, and I gave them maritime and air rights in my country. It's weird. I don't understand it, but it's fine. We'll come back to them later another time and finish that up. Better than nothing. Should help maintain relations. Should increase relations. I noticed our popularity stopped going up, though, when we touched the embargo with Korea. So we're going to want to do something to keep raising that. And speaking of, one thing I need to do as well is I need to look at these space programs that we are a member of. Let's pause the game. Some of these are done really weird. So this is a current mission. This is already going as a 20% risk of failure. That's god awful. It's exploration robot on the moon. Oh man, we got a, what is this? Return of samples on the moon coming up, but it has a 19% chance of failure. So we're going to, whoa, what the hell? I have to go so far ahead to start getting some big, look at this. What the fuck? Look at how far ahead I have to go to get some less risks of failure. I haven't seen shit like that before. There's little I can do to improve this, it looks like. Little I can do to make this better, except I could maybe throw more money at it now that I think about it. What's the funding here? 1.25 billion for this program. Wait, is that billion or what the hell? Does that look funky on the video too? I think it does. Alright, well that looks broken. It's 1.25 billion though, so let's go ahead and increase it by millions. So what would that be? 250 million more. And it would come 100% from me. Make it 1.5 billion. Let's go ahead and increase the funding and see what that does. That should hopefully make this more likely to do well. I don't see... I guess this has to get approved first. But we're going to try to do something to increase the success rate of all of this. Like, throw another 500 million into this. There you go. Throw, where's this going? This has unfinished preliminary missions. Missing space habitation modules is scheduled for 22. Alright, that has to be changed. What is all this?
Although your economy is among...
Yeah, that's my credit rating. CSTO membership refused. See, I can't join Russia's alliance because of my geographical location. This is some of the annoyances with the alliances in this game. Clean cars, yeah. Oh, by the way, the car situation in this country, boys, is awful. Let me show you. Cars per capita, 0.021. Oh, God. That means something like 2% of our population has cars. Forget about clean cars. 2% of them have cars, people. All right, but we have our meeting here with Nicaragua. Sure. This should be an interesting one. Trying to get a military alliance here. And, of course, no dice at the start. This is probably going to require some finagling as well. All I managed to get with Nicaragua is non-aggression. So I'm going to end this meeting. Although, you know, that makes me wonder. Okay, so this is Nicaragua. For a moment, I thought I might have set up a meeting with the wrong country. I was like, was it Honduras? I don't know. But I got a non-aggression with them. That seems to be the best I can do. We got a newspaper. A model country for the United Nations Organization. Damn right we are. Forget the fact that we have almost no human rights whatsoever. We are definitely a model nation for the United Nations. But we definitely need to, like I was saying before, do some things to increase happiness further. Space stuff isn't really going to be something we can rely on right now. Space stuff it contributes over time, not immediately. Culture is a good way to get at it, though. Spending into research increases. People tend to like that. Culture and sports tend to provide dividends over time, so we might want to try that. Our sports right now are dog shit. So I have set a complete maxing out of every discipline. It's only going to cost $12.5 billion. I'm gonna do it because it'll pay dividends. Maybe not immediately, hopefully immediately, but over time, as our sportsmen win things, we get popularity boosts, and that can be very important. Damn, we have almost nothing for sports. Just tiny stadiums, some swimming pools, but almost no big sports things. That's going to have to change with time if we want our people to be entertained. So that paid pretty good dividends immediately, a 7.5% increase to popularity. It should pay more over time as well. Today, our vote should be going through on the tax bill. We got our meeting with Venezuela. This guy looks great.
Sure. I hope you didn't make me come.
Alright, well, you didn't like that. But let's see what we can get with you. Alright, so the meeting with Venezuela went absolutely terribly. I didn't manage to get a single thing with him. Unfortunately. I don't know why, as I had much better luck with diplomacy as Brazil, but maybe there's just something behind these ratings that I'm just not understanding, I guess. But hey, here we go. The tax went through, and while industry's pissed off, social rating and environment gave a huge, look at that, a huge popularity boost. I can leave popularity alone for right now. Look at that. Lack of spaces in the secondary school system. What is secondary school? High school? That's a weird word. That's a weird way to say high school. Maybe that's a Chinese thing. I don't know. So secondary education. So I don't have enough. Wait, higher education. So wait, this isn't high school? This is high school. Okay, so apparently I need more high schools. So I should probably make some more. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to build 87 of these to get a nice round number distributed around the territory. It's not a lot of money, but it's an increase. It'll get me up to a nice, more round number. And so looks like our growth and everything has maintained being about the same right now. If we go over here into budget, our deficit hasn't really updated yet. Hopefully it does, because with this new tax having gone through, we should see a huge increase to the state of our budget deficit. I mean, it said we were going to get a pretty huge increase. So far, I'm not seeing any kind of increase at all. 20% only says it's going to give 5.6 bill. This might just be some glitchiness on the part of the game. It taking a moment to go through. I don't know. The game's reminding me about the Hyperloop, of course. It loves to do that. But for all I know, this is just not going to do much. But I think I experienced something similar when I did my Brazil playthrough.
Sure.
We got our meeting with Cuba, and let's hope this goes better than Venezuela. Alright, so that meeting went much better than the one with Venezuela. We got a full alliance with Cuba, and we got maritime rights to go through them. So that's a good start. Alright, so some good news is we see a reduction of risk to those space programs for our budgetary increases to them. It was a little bit of an unpredictable thing. I am going to go ahead, though, and now I'm going to go to this one. No, not this one. The mission to Mars, and I'm going to lower the date to basically the start of the next launch window, which I believe is exactly on the 10th of the 4th month of 2020, because we'll still have a 0% risk for estimated failure. But this is going to be the end of our first episode. We've done some things. We got halfway through the first month. We still got a bunch of meetings that we have to catch and a bunch more things we have to do, but this is the start of our next geopolitical simulator playthrough as China. Let me guys know what you think. Anything you want to see me do, any suggestions you have. I'm really hoping the deficit thing takes effect, because it hasn't changed at all. It's almost like that tax just fucking played a trick on me. But hopefully during the monthly or quarterly updates it will change. Otherwise, we're going to have to take a much different route to fixing our deficit. But thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, guys.